Are you hoping to make a cute, cuddly sheep using soft, plushy yarn? This video will walk you through the process and give you lots of tips to make this adorable, soft, heirloom quality plushie lamb. Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm one of the creators here at Windy Hill Crochet. If you're interested in making this adorable little lamb, the crochet stitches that you will need to know are single crochet, half double crochet, a double crochet bobble, and how to increase and do an invisible decrease. What you're gonna need if you want to make this adorable plush lamb is the Mama Made Minis Knotted Lovey book, a crochet hook in size 7 and 8 millimeter, a yarn needle, scissors, stuffing, the plush yarn of your choice, a stitch marker, and some safety eyes, size 12 or 15 millimeters. I'll also be making some tutorials on how to embroider your own adorable eyes so that they're safe for little kids under the age of 3. If you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so that you can get all of these future updates. First thing you'll need to do is decide which kind of yarn you'd like to use. For this Lovey so far, I've used Bernat Blanket, and I've used the Sparkle, Baby Blanket Sparkle, and I've also used just the regular baby blanket. This is, I believe, vanilla, and I think the sparkle is moonshine, something like that. But I've used baby blanket sand for the face and arms each time so far. But I'd also like to try making it in Michael's Loops and Threads Sweet Snuggles, because that yarn is XL and it works up super jumbo. And I think this lamb is a really adorable size as it is, but I'd love to see it even bigger. But there are lots of other kinds of yarns that you can choose from. I know that this would work up really well in Loops and Threads Sweet Snuggles Light, or I would love to try it in Sweet Snuggles because that yarn is extra large and it would just be so huge and cuddly. I can't wait to make one like that. I know other people love to use Himalaya Dolphin Baby, Premier Parfait Chunky, but I haven't gotten my first order of Premier Parfait Chunky yet. So I don't know what I'm missing yet. All of those yarns work really well in amigurumi. I'm just working with the yarns that I can get at my local craft store because I've gotten some really good deals with the coupons and sales that they've run lately. When I was a teenager, my mom and I raised sheep, so we're familiar with lots of different breeds. When I was picking out the colors to make this sheep, I was inspired by one of my favorite lambs, whose name was Ruby. She was a Tunis sheep, which meant that she had a redder tan face and beautiful creamy wool. I also am dying to make this into a little Suffolk sheep with the dark face and limbs and then beautiful creamy wool. I also think it'd be really fun to make it into a Jacob's sheep. Jacob's sheep are unique because they have spots and horns, and they're really fun and very unique. To construct this sheep, you'll be making several different pieces and sewing or crocheting them together. For the lamb, you start with making 2 ears. There is a right ear and a left ear. And then you make the back of his head, and you work this direction and you crochet your ears on. And then you change to this face color and finish the face. And then you move on to the body. You crochet the body to the bottom of the head. And to me, that's a tricky spot because if you don't have it perfectly centered, you've got a cute little quirky lamb. But if you don't want a cute little quirky lamb, you might have to tear it out the first few times. I've done a lot of tearing out of bodies to heads. I also have a couple cute little quirky guys. Next, you'll crochet his body, and then you do the 2 legs, and then you can crochet the arms, and you make them one at a time, and you can sew them on. And then last but not least, you make his little cute tail here, and you sew that on. Once you've figured out the process, you can even crochet on the arms and the tail as you go if you hate sewing as much as I do. If you want to go that route, you start by constructing your ears and your arms and your tail before you start making the rest of the lamb. So that way you can crochet them on as you go. When I was making this guy, I added the arms when I was making the second round of the body because I thought that looked just about right. One of the unique parts of this sheep are the cute baubles on his head. I was dreading starting the head of this sheep because I thought it might take a lot of time to make these baubles. But I was pleasantly surprised that bauble stitches are a lot easier than doing lots of color changes like the cow requires. When it's time to start sewing your body parts together, it's really important to make sure that you've sandwiched the two sides of the arm together and that you're sewing through all 4 V-loops at the top. That way, you're not missing any and accidentally creating holes in the base of your arm. It's also important so that if a child is swinging its Lovey by the arms, it's not making too much stress on any one part of the arm and body connection. Just remember, these are toys and they will be played with, so you want to make sure that your construction is as solid as possible. Now, let's talk about making your sheep extra special. Some fun things that you could do to make your little sheepy super sweet and unique are, you could make some accessories. I think it would be so cute to make a little scarf that you tie around his neck. Or maybe you could make a bow tie. I think you'd look adorable in a bow tie. You could make flowers and attach a flower crown at the top. You could make a heart and sew it right on his chest. Wouldn't that be so sweet, especially with Valentine's Day coming up? Some other unique ideas are adding a stripe of color in his body or his arm to make him a little bit more special. Wouldn't it be fun to have a lamb of many colors with arms and legs in different colors? It's all about making it creative and unique in your own style. I am a very seasoned crocheter, so I was pretty surprised when I came across a couple of challenges making this lamb. First was the ears. There is a right ear and a left ear in this pattern, which really surprised me because I first made 2 right ears. So when I came across the second ear and I said, yeah, this doesn't look quite right. I looked down at my book and said, oh, well, we need a left ear. And you make your ears, make sure you mark which one's right and which one's left. The very first time I made this lamb, I accidentally did not put enough stitches in his body. So he is a little bit of a skinny lamb. He is a freshly shorn lamb. But he's still adorable and he's gonna have the perfect home. Another tip is the stitch marker. I have found that it's really helpful to use one in the first or last stitch you can choose of your row. That way you know when you've gotten to the end of the row and you can count your stitches. Now, you can get a little cheeky like me and get into the swing of things and be like, I don't need a stitch marker. They're for babies. Although I will say, once I started making amigurumi, I was like, oh my gosh, how do you do this without a stitch marker? But, you know, now that I've made a lot, I like to fly without it. But sometimes I run into problems like the skinny lamb and I realize, yeah, I probably still need a stitch marker. My skinny lamb is a little skinny because I didn't make sure I was counting stitches at the end of the row. Another one of the challenges I found is making the arms and the legs. They are made with very few stitches going around. So it's difficult to figure out where you're going to put your fingers and how to get your hook and yarn all around and around and around and around all of the many times that you make rounds. The Loveys get twisted up really fast, so you're constantly unwinding your sheep as you're making his legs. I'd say the first one is definitely the hardest, and it gets easier from there. But I'd say it took me about 4 to 5 Loveys before I was really comfortable making arms and legs. Something that's good to know is that when they tell you to stuff the head in this book and attach the eyes, it's actually a good time to do it. I've come across some patterns where they don't even mention stuffing until it's way past the point of no return. I also find it's really important to stuff your heads so they're nice and firm, because stuffing will compress over time, and these are gonna have lots and lots of love and squishing and playing and throwing and who knows what. So make sure you add enough so that way they're not too floppy and sad after a while. Make sure you stuff your head a bit at first before you go and add your eyes, because once you start seeing the head shaping, it's easier to place the eyes and make sure that they're going in exactly the right spot. Overall, I have really enjoyed the Mama Made Minis Knotted Loveys book. I think I've made at least 5 of these adorable plushies, and they have all been so loved by the people that have bought them from me or who I've given them to as gifts. I really enjoyed this lamb pattern, and I will definitely be making lots more. I've taken off a few years from selling on Etsy or my own website or at craft markets, so I'm really excited to be making up lots and lots of these Loveys to take to market this year. I can't wait to see how they do. Have you made this little lamb yet? Did you encounter any troubles that I haven't listed? Leave a comment below, because I know that comment sections can be so helpful in finding other people's struggles and wins, so that way you can also be more successful in learning from other people. The crochet community is so wonderful in helping with constructive comments. It really helps speed the learning curve of crochet. I've got everything that you're gonna need for this project, link in the description box below. In my next video, you're gonna get to meet my mom, who's my partner in crime. Together, we've been crocheting a whole flock of birds, and we can't wait to show them off. Not only have we been using the plush yarns, but we've also been using up our major stash of yarn. It's been really fun to see how unique we can make these with the most ridiculous obscure yarns. You're definitely not gonna wanna miss that one. So you know what to do. Let's crochet together. This video, did it again. This video Are you hoping to...
Wait a minute.
Okay. Are you hoping to use...
Look right
Yep. The Mama... So if you're a newer crocheter, or even if you're not a newer crocheter, it's really important to inspect your work every once in a while to make sure it's the quality you want it to be.